Hi, this is Editor Troxel. In today's tutorial, we're going to answer the question of what's the difference between the ones that are compiled as a DLL file and what's the ones that are .cs files. Well, there's really a couple of differences between the two. First of all, the .cs files are going to be plain text files. So you can see the code here as it's written, and you open the .cs file, and this is the code you're going to see as it's in that file. Whereas the DLL files, you can't just open and see the code. So that's one big difference between the two, is that, for example, the ones that are for sale are definitely going to be .dll files because you don't want to make it easy for just anybody to see the code you're using. Whereas the simple ones that we've been doing in all of these tutorials, I don't mind if you see the code behind it because that's kind of the purpose of these tutorials. So those are almost all .cs files. So you see here we have a bunch of .cs files, and if we open any of these, we can open them with Notepad and we can see all of the code that is inside those files to make them easy to modify and easy to learn from. However, we've also seen cases where we have a bunch of DLL files, and if we try to open them, there's not an easy way to just open and see the code. I'm not going to say it's impossible to do, but the goal behind the DLL file is that everything in this one script is combined into this one single file. And so let's take a look at this combining. Here's an example of a script that we have written in one of the tutorials, and it has a form. Because it has a form, we actually end up with two .cs files. So here's the main CS file where all of our code is located, and this is the part where we've typed everything in. But if we look over here, this is the form1.cs. There's also a form1.designer.cs. And if we look at that, then we can see there's a whole bunch of extra code inside this file. Because there are two files, we can't just distribute this one file and be able to run it because all that other code is missing. And so by compiling it into the DLL, we are able to give this one script to other people so they can run it because only one file is generated at that time. So no matter how many CS files we have in a project, when we compile it, it would all be compiled into one DLL file. Let's take a look at a bigger example. This is my Excalibur script. And if we look over here, every one of these folders has a bunch of CS files in it. So here's a CS file, a CS file, a CS file, a CS file, and there's just so many CS files through here that all of these together make up Excalibur. And so by compiling this into a single DLL file, I'm able to distribute that one DLL file. It just wouldn't work otherwise because Vegas will not recognize multiple CS files as one script. So that's the main difference between the .cs and the DLL files. First of all, the CS can be read, where the DLLs really can't easily be read. I'm not saying they can't be, I'm just saying they can't easily be read. And secondly, it combines all of the multiple CS files into a single file so that Vegas can use, because Vegas really needs a single file. It won't recognize multiple .cs files. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful and understand the difference between the .dll and the .cs, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.